And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Biz Talks with Fred Holmes. I'm Fred Holmes. Welcome to my home office. Good to have you all drop by this evening. Fortunately, we're doing this via the webinar format because it's not a big office, and I'm not sure I could fit all of you in here. But welcome this evening. Very excited this evening for this particular broadcast. I have a special guest that I'm going to have join me here in a couple of minutes. Pat Terry out of Washington State. Some of you are familiar with that name. She and her husband, Mac McDonald, they are industry veterans of network marketing. I mean, literally multiple seven-figure income earners have joined the Zija company, now Double Diamonds, I believe. And so excited to have Pat Terry as my guest this evening. What I want to do first of all is extend a very warm welcome to those of you that have been invited to this particular broadcast tonight, or maybe you were directed to the video replay link. What we do on our Thursday evening webinar, Biz Talks with Fred, is we share a little information about our company, Zija International. See there, Zija International. We talk a little bit about what is happening in the industry today, the home-based business profession, in particular with the network marketing profession. Pardon me, I work from home, so I'm a little distracted with some background noise. But for those of you that are invited guests, I want you to take a listen for just the next few minutes. I want you to imagine in today's economy, with all the uncertainty and everything that's going on, how valuable would it be for you to know that you could have a source of an additional income stream, money coming in every single week over and above what you have from your own current position or business or job? How important it would be to know that you could be with a company that was literally at the very leading edge of a massive growth curve and know for a fact that this company would be around 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, would achieve, legacy billion-dollar-a-year status with a company. Imagine if you had an opportunity, if you knew today that that was going to happen. What I want to share with you is Zija International. See, personally, I've been around the profession of network marketing for over 30 years. Many years ago, I was a cross-country truck driver, desperately looking for a way to provide the financial resources and security for me and my son. My son was a special needs child. It was going to require a tremendous amount of financial resources to provide for him. But most importantly, it was going to need my personal time to be involved with him, much more so than a cross-country truck driver could provide. And this profession of network marketing fulfilled on all of those promises. I literally was able to retire in 10 years. And doing that 20 or maybe 25 years earlier than the average fellow would expect to retire. And after a number of years of being in retirement, I was introduced to this company as Zija International, and it met all of the criteria that I was looking for. And most people are introduced to a network marketing company through a product. And that's understandable. Somebody shares a product, you use the product, you get benefits, you're excited about it, you figure, well, other people would like it. Here's a way to create some supplemental income. For me, as a professional in the industry, I understood that while products are certainly important, they're secondary to the leadership of the company. Because frankly, we've seen companies come and go that, had good products, in a few cases, exceptional products, and they're not in business anymore. And when I was introduced to Zija International, I applied the same criteria I did to many companies I'd been introduced to in the years that I was in retirement from the industry. I looked at, first and foremost, the integrity, the track record, and the experience of the corporate team. And the founder, owner of Zija International is a man by the name of Ken Brailsford. Ken Brailsford's an icon in both the direct marketing and nutritional industries. Ken was the founder of 2 nutritional companies. One's been in business over 40 years, now Nature's Sunshine. His second company's been in business over 30 years, now continuing under the name of Unicity. These two companies represent two of only about 24, maybe 30 companies in the history of network marketing that have become long-term legacy companies. Multiple billions of dollars of sales have been created through these two companies. Nobody's ever done that before. Ken's the only man that's built two of those 24 plus companies. Even more significantly, the people that Ken has worked with, that trained under Ken in the development of those first two companies, they've gone on to create more of the industry's leading companies. Names like Sunrider Products, For Life Research, Tahitian Noni, Zango. The companies that make up the lion's share of this industry's long-term companies were either created by or spawned by Ken Brailsford's leadership. And when I learned that Ken had come out of retirement to build his third and final project, to me it was just kind of simple. If you could be a part of a Ken Brailsford company, why wouldn't you want to be part of that? Now, certainly today, because of Ken's credibility, integrity in the industry, he's surrounded himself with some of the finest minds in the network marketing profession as far as our corporate team. We've got the who's who, the dream team, if you will, at the corporate level. Secondly, the products. My focus has always been on this as a business. And so what I looked for in products was, number one, I looked for products that were, cutting edge, first to market, leading the field. It's always best to be number one. I looked for products that were highly consumable. Ideally, something that's, consumed on a daily basis, reordered on a monthly basis. Nutritional supplementation lends itself very well to our business model. If you look at that 25, maybe 30 companies that have been the long-term companies, the vast majority of them have some form of nutritional supplementation at the foundation of their product offerings. But thirdly, and this was the most important thing related to product, the product's got to really work. It has to make a genuine difference in people's life, a sufficient difference in their lives that they'll continue to use the product, and that has to be independent of whether or not they're involved in the business. See, once you learn how to do the network marketing business or distribution model as a professional, you will create huge numbers of consumers, but it all falls apart if people don't consume the product, whether or not they're actively involved in the business. Now, add to that what's happened with Zeej over the last few years. We have invested a tremendous amount of time and resources in the development of the infrastructure of our company. Today, unlike when I joined a few years ago, today we have, we're 100% vertically integrated. We own the plantations, the raw materials are grown to create our nutritional supplement products. We have developed our own manufacturing facilities. We have our own Class A office space. We have literally tens of thousands, now over 100,000 square feet of manufacturing, distribution. Yet, when you look at Zeja today, we look like a company that's been around for decades, yet we've just completed our first 10 years. We look like a company that's doing hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion in sales. We have the capacity, with what we have in place today, the capacity to produce over $1 billion in sales of our products. Yet the last ingredient, which is the distribution team, we're just a small percentage of that. And that's what leads us up to tonight, because we have everything in place to create that $1 billion legacy company, and now we're developing the distribution organization. And again, I want you, as I bring Pat Terry on, I want you to listen to the voice of experience. Somebody, she is a veteran of this industry. She's been there and done that, and you have to ask yourself, why would somebody like this look at Zija International. I'm going to let her share that in her own words. Pat, I'm going to be bringing you over to this side of the webinar here shortly, so get ready. But again, if you had a chance to be in the right place at the right time, wouldn't you want to have that as part of the future for your family? Pat, good to see you. Oh, let me unmute you real quick here. Sorry about that. There you go. Good to see you, my dear. You're looking lovely.
Thank you, thank you. I'm in my home office as well. Yours looks actually like an office. Mine's I love my kitchen.
Well, and actually, I've got it set up so with the bookcases in the back, and you can see. Let's see here. You can see some of the Zija, crystal awards I've received over the years, and my picture with Ken Brailsford. I've got a few of the original cans of our product. The very first Moringa drink came in those, and I got my little diffuser going. Yeah, but that's kind of on purpose, so it kind of looks like an office. Yours looks a lot more comfortable. But hey, Pat, listen, I'm really excited. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us on this edition of Biz Talks. I was sharing with the folks a little bit about the fact that you're an industry veteran. I know you're very modest. I'm not going to, steal anything from you, but folks, Pat and her husband, Mac, they are multiple seven-figure income earners. I believe, you're over 30 years in the industry, maybe longer?
Approaching, no, actually 25, but I've been an entrepreneur for...
Right, gotcha. But a couple of decades at least in the industry. Let's do this, because what I'm looking for is to help the people that are especially the invited guests and our brand new distributors, understand what kind of people would be attracted to a business like this. How are they introduced? What do they do? And what are the potential? And finally, why did you guys choose to be part of Zija? But let's start out with, before you got involved in network marketing, tell me about your career, what you were doing.
I had an exciting career. I'm a registered nurse, and, I'm in a medical family. My father was a doctor at the Mayo Clinic. Oh. And he was a pretty wise man, because he climbed the medical ladder, and then, as he said, he climbed the wrong wall. he didn't have freedom. He ended up with poor health because of working too much. So he actually raised me from about 14 on. He said to me, Pat, he goes, I'm a sailor, I'm a boater. So he said, Pat, you need to have 2 oars in the water to have freedom. He said, you need to be proactive in your finances, and you can pick a primary career, but you need to figure out how to learn to leverage to make income. You need to be in charge of that. And then the other one, he says, you need to be in charge of proactive health. And he knew I was going into medicine. I went into, my background's emergency medicine, critical care, trauma, helicopter rescue. And I've actually been a director of nursing over multiple critical units. And I've lived all over the world setting up healthcare units. Wow. So he basically said, you want to be proactive in your health and keep it, and proactive in your finances. And if you've got those both going in the water, you're going to have freedom. So I love freedom. And so then I actually ended up working overseas. I worked in the Middle East before people ever went to the Middle East, back when they didn't even have roads. And that's where I met my lovely husband, Mac McDonald. He's a colonel in the Air Force. And so I
wouldn't call him lovely. I don't think he's let me get away with that.
I know, maybe not you, but he likes it when I call him lovely. But it's interesting because we're both cut out of the same, we have a passion for life. We have a passion to help people. He did that in his military career. I did that in my preventative career. But like I said, I was kind of born with 2 brains. I like to help people really have freedom. So when I went to the Middle East, one of the things that I saw is I saw a whole lot of people from a whole lot of different backgrounds, and they were very out of balance financially. Therefore, they didn't own their life. And so that was as much of a passion for me to find a vehicle to help people be able to change their life. Because again, with my background in Western medicine, running emergency departments, cardiac units, I know the majority of reason people end up in there is because of stress. The number one reason they have stress is money. and lack of time. So anyway, I remember when my husband and I started dating in the Middle East, we both said this to each other: someday we're going to find a vehicle that we can empower people to keep their health, gain their health back, and literally be able to elevate anywhere they're at their financial future. And then we returned to the United States, and finally somebody brought this model to me. And I was one of those people, the minute I saw it, it was just a no-brainer that it was a model meant for everyone.
You know, that's interesting, because it seems like there's two different kinds of people: those that take a long time to really see what this is, and then others that it just makes sense to. You know, it just makes sense. So, question: somebody like yourself, obviously very successful professional in your field, how were you introduced to network marketing? My first introduction to network marketing was a date in my early 20s. A young gal that used to be my neighbor. She was only about 2-3 years younger than me, but back when we were kids, that was way big difference. And, you know, I guess I was probably about 24. She invited me out on a date. And then, you know, kind of seemed like a casual thing. You know, families were friends, had to be careful, right? I mean, you know, and then she introduced me to her boyfriend and tried to sell me a $65 box of soap. So was that how you were introduced to network marketing?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yes, I would say I was actually introduced to it in the backwards way, that they almost missed having me join network marketing, because I didn't know it existed. So I got sick. I was 39 years old. I had been very athletic. I'd been eating right. I'd been doing everything right, but I led a very high stress career, and I ended up sick. And so somebody brought me some products for about a year. And part of the reason I wasn't listening, and I think this is important, is because people need to listen to where people are out of balance. I was out of balance because I worked too hard. My husband and I, who love each other dearly, have a telephone marriage then, because he was commanding and I was ready. And we probably saw each other a couple hours a day, and most of it was telephone marriage. And we love each other. So she was trying to introduce me to products to cure a problem that had been stemming from 12 up to finally when my health collapsed. And I didn't want to listen. Had she given me the big picture and let me see it all, I would have taken the piece of the pie that fit the most, which was a career change.
Right.
So that's how I was introduced, is she brought me some products. I was actually given like a year to live. My health was failing so bad. And so my husband got me on the products, and my health started to turn around. And so, like what you said, some people join network marketing by a company that they like the product. But that's not why I joined the company. That's not why I joined the company. I finally went and took a look at what it was, and I thought I was looking at the product, and finally somebody showed me the big picture. I remember I'd been searching since I was, a teenager, for a 2-oared boat. One that I could empower people to stay healthy, and one that I can empower people if they wanted to have an income stream coming in. And all of a sudden somebody laid out that picture, and I went, why didn't I ever know about this? Anybody from any background can do this. And so that's what got me into network marketing. It was actually the big picture, knowing that I had 2 oars in the water. So we just took off.
You know, and it's interesting that you say that, because so many of us, people like yourself and Mac, people like myself, Pat Anderson, Pat has been one of my guests before. Very successful businesswoman. She had no residual income. She had no time freedom. You know, oftentimes people say, well, I'm too busy. That's the reason you need to look at a different way to create an income. Now, between you and Mac, you've built an incredibly successful business with a previous company. I believe it was probably about, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago or so. You made a decision to leave that company and join Zege International. And folks, I'm just going to tell you, Pat Terry could have gone to any company. I mean, I already know there were companies out there that were pulling out their checkbook saying, hey, why don't you guys come work with us? You know, because of the track record you'd have had. I mean, multiple 7-figure income. Why was it that first of all, why were you looking for another company, and why did you choose Zege?
Great questions. First off, I totally believe in this industry, and if you're going to build it, you want to align and stay with it forever. You want to build that residual, so you want that legacy leader. And so I was fortunate in our first company that we did bump into a company with a legacy leader, the foundation, everything that you said, the timing, everything. What happened in that company though, and we went to the top of that company, and we went to the top because Mac and I are a service to others. If we can empower people in both areas, you're going to go, you're going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was the legacy leader did not train the next generation, and the company lost integrity, and the company product fell away. So because they didn't have the foundation that what very much Fred laid out, they didn't own the product. They found the liaisons and everything. So there was a lot of things that eventually the company just, we saw the writing on the wall. And so we knew we wanted to look for another company. And at the same time, we had been, in 20 years, we had been approached by every company out there. We had been offered big money to just say, quit the company and tell them how good we are. My integrity is the most important thing. And I believe in this model, but if I had, the team that went to look at this, there were 4 families that knew the company was losing their integrity and started doing their due diligence and went through 100 companies to narrow down Zija. But I said, if we went through 100 companies and didn't find what we were looking for, we would not have jumped in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were looking for a legacy leader. I'm not going to go into that because you already did that in depth. When we saw Ken Brailsford, it was a home run. Not only was he looking at the legacy of building a company and having done the track record twice before, but he was actually looking at 100 to 200 year change the earth, change the health type legacy. We're talking, you don't meet people like this. Mm-hmm. So that was a home run. We were looking that the company already had a 10-year foundation because we didn't want to be having to build it up. We wanted all the infrastructure in place.
And you didn't want to be doing the deal when I was doing the deal.
Exactly. I appreciate your efforts. So for those of you, you can do great when you start out, but you want a company that, if you can choose a company that's 10 years on and proven themselves. This company had something I wasn't even looking for. Normally a company can't even reach debt-free for over 20, 25 years. And this company came out of the gates debt-free. That was a home run. I was obviously looking, at the timing, but I wanted a product. And again, like you said, product is secondary. I wanted the foundation. But being my background in Western medicine, I wanted a product that was a home run. I wanted whole food. I wanted preferably liquid. Because the body absorbed it. I wanted something that everybody wanted. Yeah, and so there's yours and here's mine. So in other words, what I look at when I evaluated other companies is I looked at, there's a lot of companies out there with great products. But if I were to pick up their great product, what I would say is if I had a pie and the whole pie was prevention, good health, or for those that are trying to restore your health, it's restorative health. Most of those companies, they have little pieces of the pie. Mm-hmm. People would bring it to me and I'd say, well, that's great. It's a good piece of the pie. But if I'm doing a business and I want other people to really achieve, I want the whole pie. So when I took a look at this liquid moringa oleifera, which is only this company has the best of the best, I went number 1, the whole pie. Number 2, it had what I'd been looking for 22 years. Mm-hmm. And number 3, and this is a different mindset than most people, being an emergency department nurse, knowing people don't make change very well, I wanted one product that literally covered so many, I call it a gap filler. So for people with prevention, it fills more gaps so they get better prevention. People restorative, it gives them more gaps so they can get that restorative foundation. And so, and their compliance. The compliance is huge because they can come off most of everything else they're on. So they're saving money. So the product was a home run. So I had the timing, the legacy. Ken has trained the next generation to the next generation. The culture is phenomenal. The foundation were there that was debt free. But then I saw things that, again, that I have never seen in the company before. I was not expecting to see a company with pharmaceutical grade nutrition. I'd never seen that before. I'd never seen a company that owned from seed to mouth. I'd never seen it attract the kind of medical professionals and scientists along with business minds. But then again, the culture was when I walked through the door in the field or into the company. It was the culture of passion, service, pay it forward. And so in other words, they really are cutting edge, leading the natural health revolution, which I'm passionate about. But everybody in that is doing that. So there's no company that even came close second in my book.
You know, this is why I have, instead of me sharing the information, I have people like you come on and join me on this broadcast, because you are so eloquent, and all I would say is we're the real deal. And that's probably about as fancy as I could get it. Pat, I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to have you and Mac as part of the team. You brought an incredible amount of, knowledge and skill in the development of the organization. You in particular, your medical background. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things you'll want to do is go ahead and watch a previous broadcast on our sister broadcast, Pat Anderson Health Talks with Pat, because she and Pat Terry have done a couple of broadcasts, and you'll be able to get more of the product side. Pat, thank you so much for taking time to be with us this evening. I'm excited to have you with us, and we're looking for great and wonderful things down the road.
Well, it's a pleasure, and I just hope all of you out there that are listening to this look at the big picture for you. This company is amazing. If you would just go out and pay it forward. I didn't mention the comp plan is the best I've ever seen.
That's a fact.
Early income for those that don't know what they're doing, rewards for sharing it forward, what you'd naturally do anyway. Stronger income in there when you help people develop. And again, home run, they even do profit sharing and things like that have people with the big thinking. So I just wanted to end on that note. Take a look at the whole company.
Hey, thank you so much, Pat. We'll be talking to you again soon. Take care.
Thanks, Fred.
Okay, and we'll let Pat go back to the other side. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, obviously, tonight was not designed to give you every single detail about everything. Pat just mentioned here in closing the compensation plan designed to give you immediate upfront money for the brand new person who's only got a little bit going, but be able to make some good money. For people that want to develop themselves, develop organizations, the back end money that can really become significant if you take on a leadership role, and something that's never been done in network marketing ever, and will probably never be done again, is the owner of the company, Ken Brailsford's committed 25% of the company's profits, if you will. 25% of Ken's money is going to come back into the field for the people that have committed to building the long-term legacy status as Zege International. So what I want to do is just two quick things. I'm going to let you go. For those of you that are invited guests, get with the person that asked you to be part of tonight's broadcast or directed you to the replay link. Get your questions answered. Learn about the product. Try the products if you like. Learn about the company. Learn about what it takes to get started with us. And get involved. It's important that every single one of you at least try our products. For 30 days, you have an unconditional money-back guarantee. No questions asked. Use the products. You got absolutely nothing to lose, but you have everything to gain when you find out why so many people have been using the Zege products, like myself, now for year after year after year. And for those of you that are looking for an opportunity to take control, like Pat said, to take control of your financial future, to know that regardless of what happens in the economy, regardless of what happens with your job, you will have an ongoing secondary income stream, then get involved with us as distributors. We've got, unlike when I started, we have the resources, the training, the support to be able to help you learn what people like myself and Pat Terry have taken years to learn. All of that's available to you. And then number two, last thing, if you decide to get involved with us, make a note on your calendar. This coming Saturday morning, we're going to host a very special new distributor training. I will be working with brand new distributors on specifically the kinds of things that I was taught 30 years ago that helped me create an income in this profession that allowed me to retire within 10 years. And today with ZJ International, I work this as a part-time business from home. I have my elderly mother with me. 99% of what I do is done either this way or on the telephone, but I do it from the comfort of home while I take care of my most important responsibility, which is to care for my elderly mother. And we will be sharing with you exactly the kinds of information that you'll want to know to be able to build the same kind of business for yourself. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you for joining us. All of our attendees, wow, room really filled up here. And Pat Terry, thank you, my dear, so much for spending time with us this evening. We'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning for the new distributor training. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.